Hi everyone, so I think it's been about a year since I've had a video with my best cards. What I'm doing in this video is my top 15 cards. I would say about half of these, maybe more, I did not have. These are cards that are new in the last year. And I have these, I'm going from lower values to higher values. I use the trading card database and eBay for the most part. Trading card database, generally the prices you see there actually reflect the prices that people are obtaining on sites like eBay. It's not like Beckett Book Value. It's like actual real world prices, what you could actually get for the card, again, on a site like eBay. And if a card wasn't there, because they don't always have the prices, I just went on eBay to try to figure out what most people are asking for or getting for the cards. So I'll start out with a 1967 Topps Pete Rose. I got this just the other day at an antique store. This is roughly a $20 to $25 card in decent condition. This one's off center, maybe not quite worth that much, but still, it's a 1960s Pete Rose. If you're interested in 1960s cards, for whatever reason, 1967, the mantle aside, is an incredibly affordable set still. As I'll show later, I have a 1973 Topps Pete Rose that's worth almost double this, but you can still find these cards at shows and on eBay for relatively cheap. If you look at Pete's early career here, you just look at the hits. He's already racking up a bunch of 200 hit seasons. And I like how it says on the bottom, the way Pete is blasting the ball, he's sure to set many club records before hanging up his cleats. And obviously he set the all-time major league record for hits. And as I'll always say, should be in the Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame's a museum. It's not a hall of morality. So anyway, there's the first one. And the second one also is from the same set, 1967. It's a Willie Mays, which again is roughly $20 to $25. This is another card that I got from the same antique store for relatively cheap. It's in decent condition. And for me, it's a Willie Mays from the 60s in his Giants uniform. I have another Willie Mays coming up where he's in his Mets uniform, late career. This is the only Willie where he's in a Giants uniform. And, his stats are just absolutely insane. So that's number 14. I do have some non-baseball cards in here. So I used to collect everything: basketball, football, hockey, golf, Garbage Pail Kids, basically anything. So I still have a bunch of old basketball cards, mainly from the 80s. This is an 88, 89 Fleer sticker. And this one goes for about, I would say, $20 to $25 as well on eBay, still today. Here is the 1973 Pete Rose coming in at number 12. And this one is about $30. It's a $30 to $35 in good condition, maybe $35 to $40. So it's more expensive than the 67 one from before. Something about the 73 Topps set, which is one of my favorite sets of all time. You get a couple nice cards in there: the Schmidt, this Rose, the Willie Mays, which is coming up. So number 11 is this Ryne Sandberg, which for whatever reason, of the various rookies in 83 Topps, you have the Tony Gwynn, the Wade Boggs, and this Ryne Sandberg. This one sells the best. This one sells pretty consistently for about $25 to $30. I don't know why. I mean, none of these guys are in the Hall of Fame. I'm sorry. None of these guys ever won a World Series. They're all Hall of Famers, of course, but they all had pretty similar careers. All throughout the 80s, I thought Tony Gwynn and Wade Boggs were bigger stars, more exciting stars. But for whatever reason, the Sandberg is the most valuable one. Then you have this Ernie Banks, which I always blank on the year. I think it's a 1960 Topps Ernie Banks. And this one goes for about $35 in decent condition. I'm not sure this counts as decent condition, but I love these old cards from the 50s and the 60s. Again, you can still get these at a relatively reasonable price. They're fun to look at. It's a cool piece of history, thinking that this card that I'm holding now is 60 years old. It's made it through 60 years in relatively good condition. And then even older is this 1955 Bowman Bob Feller, which is going to be about $35 as well. And, it's got that classic old style TV set design, which I love. And, just reading the back, it's so cool, talking about his childhood heroes were Walter Johnson and Rogers Hornsby. Ted Williams is the greatest hitter I've ever seen. Lefty Grove is the greatest pitcher. Really cool card. And as a Cleveland fan, I mean, he is probably the all-time greatest Indian, I'm going to say. So love that card. Here is the Willie Mays, which usually will go for about $40. And again, it's him in his Mets uniform. This is a 73 Topps card. This is actually the last regular issue baseball card he had. He retired after this year. So you get basically his full career stats on there. I love that card. This next one is the only auto relic-y card. I got this. This is 2012, I believe, or 2014. I'm trying to see, yeah, 2014. But I bought an old pack of 2014 Topps just last year, had a redemption card in it. Obviously, it was way expired, but I wrote Topps, and they said they still had the card on the shelves, and they sent it to me. So that's just a good, some advice. Always ask these companies if they still have the cards on the shelf. I think there's nothing else they can really do with them. So they sent me this, and I would say this one, I couldn't find an exact price match for this, but cards that are similar, and this one is out of 25, 14 out of 25. I don't know how well that shows up all right. This one I would say is probably, $50, $60. So I don't have a lot of autographs or relics, but this one is a pretty cool looking card. Troy's lost some of his shine over the last couple of years, but he had a decent career. Next up is the Ken Griffey 1989 famous rookie card from Upper Deck's first edition. And I'm pretty sure this was the card I actually pulled out of a pack in 1989, a couple years into collecting back then. And it's still, I mean, it's one of the 52 Mantle, this is one of the most iconic baseball cards of all time. It's just kind of perfect. And this one, usually $50 to $60, I would say. And then another iconic card is the 84 Donruss Don Mattingly. And, as in the 80s, in the late 80s, he was, I would say, the Michael Jordan of baseball. Got injured, couldn't quite put together the kind of resume that would earn him a Hall of Fame induction. But if I had to vote in the late 80s, he was the guy. There was just no guy more exciting than him. And this card was the card that you wanted in the 80s. So, again, this one's in the maybe $60 range or so in good condition. And that gets down to the final four then. So this card is I think it's a 2014 again, Mike Trout. 15. Must wear glasses. Oh, I have my glasses right here. Yeah, so this is a 2015 Mike Trout, and if you can see there, this is numbered out of 149. There's a million different versions of this card with different patterns in this like boomerang shape here. This is obviously, it's one of the lower number patterns, and I have not been able to find many comparisons. The trading card database does not list a value for this because I don't think many have been sold. But cards that are slightly less, have slightly higher numbers than this one, are in the $50 to $60 range. So I'm guessing this is probably in the $70 to $80 range. Nevertheless, it's a beautiful Mike Trout card. Here's one of the first cards when I got back into collecting again last year. I bought a pack of 2018 Topps, and I got this Albie. This, as you can see, is out of 10. And another one where there are not that many examples of this card online to price check, but the closest values that I've found have suggested this is maybe $75 to $85 card. It's his rookie. It's one of these Topps Salutes. It's a red parallel. It's out of 10. So that was maybe one of the best cards I got all last year. And then one of the best cards I got this year, I got this just a couple weeks ago when I opened one of my first pack of 2020 Topps, just the regular Series 1. I wasn't quite aware of how valuable the gold cards are. So all these gold cards are always out of the year. So they're out of 2020 this year. Last year they were out of 2019. When I opened this, I thought, oh, cool, it's a Yordan Alvarez, and it's special and it's numbered, so maybe this is worth $10 or $12 or $14. No, this is actually going pretty consistently for $90 to $100 on eBay, making it my second best card just like that. And I'm really torn about this one. Part of me wants to sell it because he's, a fairly unproven prospect at this point. I mean, he won Rookie of the Year, of course, but if he has a great career and he keeps on piling up good seasons, this could be a really, an extremely valuable early card of his. And that gets us to my most valuable card, which hasn't changed since last year. This is a 87-88 Fleer Michael Jordan. This goes pretty standard for about $150. It got a bump after the Last Dance documentary. I said Mattingly was the Michael Jordan of baseball for me. Obviously, Mike was the Mike of the GOAT for basketball. Had posters of him on my wall as a kid. And this comes from the 80s. This is when I acquired this out of a pack. So this will always be one of my favorites, and it turns out it's my most valuable card by about $50. So that's it. That is the top 15. And, hopefully in the next time I shoot a video like this, there'll be a couple more new entries. A couple of these guys will kind of, I don't know why I'm even sorting these out. I just kind of like to look at them. They are kind of gorgeous. But yeah, hopefully next time I'll have a couple new entries onto the list. Maybe one day someone will knock that Jordan off the top. That's it. Next time I'll probably be back with some packs.